I want you to think about the last time you gave a stranger your trust. Maybe it was a rideshare driver. Maybe it was someone you met at a party. Maybe it was someone you matched with on an app. Someone whose photos you studied, whose words made you laugh, whose attention felt good in the specific way that attention from a new person always feels good. We live in a world where meeting strangers is normal, where sharing pieces of yourself with people you have never met in person is just how things work now. Dating apps, social media, mutual followers. The walls between public and private have been coming down for years, and most of us have stopped noticing. I stopped noticing. That was my mistake. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm a 28-year-old woman living alone in Charlotte, North Carolina, and what happened to me after I matched with a man named Kevin on a popular dating app 8 months ago is something that every person who has ever used online dating needs to hear. Because Kevin was not who he said he was, and by the time I understood the full scope of what he had done, he already knew more about my life than some of my closest friends. This is my story. I matched with Kevin on a Thursday night in March. His profile was good, not suspiciously good, not the kind of profile that looks curated to the point of feeling fake, just normal, genuine. He was 31, said he worked in logistics, lived about 12 miles from me. His photos showed a regular-looking guy, average build, friendly face, one photo hiking somewhere with a dog, one photo at what looked like a family barbecue. Normal. We matched. He messaged first within minutes. The conversation was easy. He was funny without trying too hard. He asked questions and actually responded to the answers instead of just waiting for his turn to talk. Within an hour, I had given him my number, and we had moved to texting. Over the next week, we texted every day, long conversations, the kind that go from afternoon into late night without you noticing how much time has passed. He remembered things I mentioned in passing, a work project I was stressed about, a coffee place I liked, my sister's name. It felt like he was paying attention. It felt like he was interested. It was not attention. It was data collection. After 10 days of texting, we made plans to meet. Coffee on a Saturday afternoon, a cafe in my neighborhood that I went to regularly. I told him the name of the cafe. That was the moment everything began. I just didn't know it yet. He was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table facing the door. He stood up when I walked in. The date was fine, not spectacular, not terrible. He was quieter in person than over text, which is common. He seemed a little nervous, which I found endearing at the time. But there were 2 moments during that date that I have replayed many times since. The first, about 20 minutes in, he mentioned the street I lived on. Not my address, just the street name. He said something about how that part of Charlotte had great brunch spots, naming a restaurant 2 blocks from my apartment building by name. I thought nothing of it. Charlotte is not a huge city. People know neighborhoods. The second moment, near the end of the date, as I was getting ready to leave, he said he hoped my work presentation went well on Monday. I had mentioned a work presentation in a text message once, 8 days earlier. He had remembered it. I told myself he was just attentive. I told myself it was sweet. I drove home. I texted my friend Jess that the date was okay, nothing amazing, I wasn't sure. She asked if I was going to see him again. I said probably not. I should have trusted that feeling. I should have stopped responding to his texts right then. Instead, I kept texting him, and 4 days later, something happened that changed everything. On a Wednesday evening, I went to my gym. It is about 1.5 miles from my apartment. I go 3 times a week, usually around 6 p.m. I had never mentioned my gym to Kevin. Not the name, not the neighborhood, not that I went to the gym at all. I finished my workout at 7:15 and walked out of the building. Kevin was standing across the street. He raised his hand and waved, casual, like it was normal, like running into someone a mile and a half from your apartment outside a gym you had never mentioned was just a coincidence. He crossed the street, said he lived nearby and had just been walking past, said what a funny coincidence. I smiled. I said, yes, funny coincidence. We talked for maybe 3 minutes. He walked away in the opposite direction of where I was going. I stood on that sidewalk for a long time. Then I walked home, quickly, a different route than I normally took. And I started paying attention in a way I had not been before. That night, I went through everything, every social media account I had, Instagram, Facebook, an old Twitter I barely used anymore, LinkedIn. I looked at them the way a stranger would look at them. My Instagram was set to private, but I had 340 followers and I had not been careful about who I accepted. I scrolled through my follower list. Kevin's name was not there, but there was an account created 4 weeks ago, no profile photo, 1 follower, following 23 accounts that had requested to follow me 3 weeks ago, and I had accepted without thinking. The username was random letters and numbers. The account had no posts. I clicked on the 23 accounts it followed. My gym had an Instagram. I followed my gym's Instagram. This blank account followed my gym's Instagram. My favorite coffee shop had an Instagram. I followed it. This account followed it. My workplace had a LinkedIn page. This account was connected to my workplace's LinkedIn. My sister had a public Instagram. This account followed her. One by one, I went through all 23 accounts this blank profile followed. Every single one was connected to me. My gym, my coffee shop, my workplace, my sister, 2 of my close friends whose accounts were public, the neighborhood association page for my street, a local news account that covered my part of the city. 23 accounts, all of them pieces of my life. The account had been created 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago was 1 week before I matched with Kevin. He had found me before we ever matched. He had built a map of my life before he ever sent me a message. I was not breathing normally when I figured that out. I called Jess. It was 11:30 at night. She answered on the second ring. I told her everything. The gym, the street name on the first date, the blank Instagram account, the 23 follows. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, unmatch him. Block him on everything, right now while you're on the phone with me. I did it while she stayed on the line. Unmatched on the app, blocked his number, blocked the blank Instagram account, made all of my social media private or deleted what I could. Jess said, have you told anyone where you live, like your actual address? I thought about it. The coffee shop I had suggested for our date was 2 blocks from my building. He had arrived before me. He had been sitting in a corner table facing the door. I felt sick. Jess said I needed to file a report. I said I didn't think what he had done was technically illegal. She said file it anyway. Create a paper trail. Make sure there is documentation that this person exists and that you have had contact with him. I filed a report the next morning. The officer who took my report was a woman. She listened carefully. She said what he had done, the pre-match research, the fake follower account, the gym appearance, existed in a legal gray area, but that the behavior pattern was concerning and consistent with what she called pre-escalation stalking. Pre-escalation, meaning it could get worse. For 3 weeks after I blocked him, nothing happened. I started to relax. I started to think maybe it was over. Maybe he had moved on. Maybe I had overreacted. I had not overreacted. On a Tuesday morning, 5 weeks after I had blocked him on everything, I walked out of my apartment building to go to work. There was an envelope tucked under the windshield wiper of my car. No stamp, no return address, just my first name written in careful handwriting. Inside was a printed photograph. It was a photo of me, taken from a distance with a zoom lens or a phone camera with zoom. I was walking on my street. I recognized the background. I was wearing my gray jacket and carrying my coffee cup from the shop 2 blocks away. I was looking at my phone. I had no idea the photo was being taken. On the back of the photograph, written in the same careful handwriting of the envelope, "I just want to talk." I called the police from my car without going back inside. I did not want to walk past wherever he might be standing. 2 officers came within 15 minutes. They took the envelope and the photograph as evidence. They filed an amended report. They told me to vary my routes, to not be alone when possible, to let my building management know. They told me to be careful. That was all they could do, because he still hadn't technically broken a law. I moved apartments 2 months later. New neighborhood, new gym, new coffee shop. Locked down every social media account. Removed location data from all my photos going back 3 years. Deleted apps I didn't use. Audited every follower on every platform. I have not heard from him since the photograph. I do not know if he stopped. I do not know if he found someone else to do this to. What I know is this: he found me before we ever matched. He built a picture of my daily life from public information, things I had posted, accounts I followed, check-ins I had made, photos with location data embedded in them. He assembled a map of my existence from the digital breadcrumbs I had left without thinking about it, and then he walked into my life like a coincidence. The scariest part is not what he did at the gym. It is not the photograph on my car. The scariest part is what I found when I went back through my Instagram and looked at the location data on my posts. Over 2 years of posts, photos at my gym, my coffee shop, my favorite restaurants, my neighborhood park, tagged locations, visible to anyone who looked closely enough. I had built the map for him. He just used it. I am telling you this because I want you to understand something that took me a long time to fully accept. The danger was not Kevin specifically. The danger is the information. Every tagged location, every check-in, every public post that shows where you are, what you do, when you do it, who you do it with, every follower you accept without checking, every app that has access to your location, every photo with data embedded in it that tells anyone who looks exactly where you were standing when you took it. We hand this information out freely because it has never felt dangerous, because the person reading it has always been in our minds a friend or a follower or a stranger who will never matter. Kevin was a stranger who decided to matter, and I gave him everything he needed before I ever knew he existed. Check your followers, audit your location data, make your accounts private. Think about what a stranger could learn about your daily life from your public profile. Because someone like Kevin is not rare, he is not exceptional. He is just someone who paid attention to information that you made available. Don't make it easy. Stay safe. And the next time someone seems to know just a little too much about your life, trust that feeling. It is not a coincidence. It never is.